down here like this, maybe. Yeah. There's another world in there. Hello everyone, and welcome to another mini bed gardening video. This is the Mini Bed Experimental Garden in its 5th year of production and experimentation. I'm Herrick Kimball. I developed this gardening concept, and I am making experiment after experiment in the garden, planting and spacing and so on and so forth. And today I want to show you how I go about planting using the hammer planting technique that I've developed for these mini beds. But let me explain what we're looking at here first. This row was planted to peas. This is July 5th, 2021. I pulled the pea vines up. You can see them over here on the left last night. And then this morning I've planted 6 beds to bush beans. And I've got the cat excluder screens on the top, and we'll come down through here. Each bed has a different kind of bean. I'm experimenting, and I did use the inoculant, and I used the 13 spot planting technique. And so we have jade bush bean here, and we have provider bush bean here. Move right along here. We have strike bush bean in that bed, and royal burgundy bush bean there, and Serengeti bush bean right there, and Maasai bush bean right there. And here we have 2 beds that have had the pea vines pulled from them, and that's what they look like before I prepare them. And I'm going to plant them to buckwheat, a buckwheat cover crop here. Buckwheat grows great in the summer. It's a great cover crop. And I have a technique, this hammer planting technique. You can see the mallet over there, which will come into play shortly. But I'm going to set this up on a tripod, this camera, and I'm going to show you the process that I go through to prepare a mini bed and then use the hammer to plant the buckwheat. Alrighty, so to prepare a mini bed, and I do believe I have a video about this that I've made in the past, but there'll be some modifications here because this is, after all, the experimental garden, and things are changing as I endeavor to find the best techniques for mini bed gardening. So what I've done is I've pulled the pea vines out, the crop that was in here prior to this preparation, and there's still a little bit of weeds in here, but that's no problem. Then I'm going to take the frame and flip it out of the way. And the beauty of this frame right here, a 30-inch by 30-inch, is that it's not heavy. It's lightweight, it's easy to move, it's easy to flip. And flipping it over top to bottom each time I plant the bed does, I believe, prolong the lifespan. The decay is moved from bottom to top, top to bottom, and I think that makes a difference. Theoretically, it makes a difference. So that's out of the way, and that's the beauty of a 30-inch by 30-inch frame. Some people want to make larger frames, 48 by 48, 30 by 60, or whatever, and you can do that, but you're going to have a harder time managing those frames. And after 4 years and into my 5th year of gardening here in the Mini Bed Experimental Garden, I'm entirely satisfied with that 30-inch by 30-inch size. The next step, and I don't always do this, but I'm going to do it now because it is an important part of this gardening concept. The next step is to crack the soil with a garden fork. And I've showed this before, but I'll show it now, that you just push the fork in, tip it up. We're cracking the soil, not turning the soil. And you'll notice that is aerating up underneath the walkway plastic. Oops, I think I moved the camera on that one. And so yeah, we're cracking the soil on the perimeter first. And I think that this makes a difference. You want well aerated soil. And then I'll get the interior here. Not turning, as I said, I'm just cracking the soil. It's loosening up. And you'll notice that my fork goes right down there, no problem. And that's because I've done that in this. I hit a rock right there. If I hit a rock, sometimes I try to get it out. Like that. There it is. So I did turn the soil a little there, but you got the idea. You just got to crack it. We didn't get the rototiller out. We didn't have a lot of hassle there. We just cracked the soil. Next, I'm going to take this hoe head, which I'd like to put a handle on someday, but I don't need a handle. It's got this wide, flat hoe surface there, and I'm scraping around the perimeter, getting any soil that was under the frame back into the bed. That was that. All right, then I'm going to put the frame on, put the damp side up, the side that was down before, and then I'm going to take my hands and distribute the soil, kind of level it off, get it up here close to the plastic edges, but not onto the plastic. And I could take my short-handled hoe and chop here a little bit if I wanted to loosen the soil and pick out rocks and pick out little bits of weed that might reroot themselves. But you get the idea. Just kind of leveling here. And there we go. That is plenty good for preparation. If you have watched previous videos or you have the Mini Bed Gardening Trilogy report that I've put together about this gardening system, you're familiar with this 13 spot planting template right here. I use this for a lot of things, and I'm using it more and more because it's a pretty good spacing. It's really an ideal spacing for things like garlic and lettuce, things like that, and it's actually, I believe, a good spacing for cover crops also. Here I have buckwheat, and I'll show you some beds that I've planted that have grown up using this technique I'm about to show you. Now, I used to take the 13 spot planting template and divot out the soil in the places where I wanted to plant. But I'm not doing that now. Instead, I'm taking a mallet like this. So this is a dead blow mallet. It's got like a 2-inch diameter face on it. And I'm using this particular mallet because this is the mallet I happen to own. And it's working for me quite well. And 13 spots can be eyed up pretty well by starting in the center, making a divot right there, making a planting hole. Actually, for buckwheat, that's a little deep, so I'll just make these smaller. I've just planted all those bean beds behind me that I showed in the beginning of this video using this technique, and I went deeper. So there I've got 3 planting spots. I'll come between the 2 there, between the 3 with 2, and then we'll go 3 again here. Okay, like so. Do 2 here, and we'll do 3. Okay, so I've eyed up 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 13 planting spots. And I'll explain why this is better than a previous technique. So here I've got my buckwheat seed right here, and I'm going to get some, let some fall through, 15, 20 seeds, and throw them right in there. And I've done this for so many years that I can just let loose, and I know that I've got 15 or 20. I don't even have to count them. And I'm kidding, of course. I'm getting an approximate 15, 20, might be 25, might be 30. You got the idea. And see how quickly I can plant these planting spaces. Okay, so they're all planted, and now it's just a matter of pushing a little soil over and hammering it down. And hammering it down, putting the pressure to it, is what you want to do. If you watched my earlier videos, I'm putting like a 1/2 inch of soil over them before I smack them down, and I'm not pounding them hard, I'm just pounding them firmly. If you watched a video I did a year or 2 back about planting cover crops, I spread the seeds all over, and I used the claw to get them semi under the soil, and then I took my feet and I firmly packed the soil down in the whole bed. And that works fine. It's very important to get the soil down firmly. I explain why in the mini bed report, when planting cover crops especially. You want that soil firmly around the seeds. But the problem with broadcasting over the whole bed and then packing down the whole bed is that I'm making it easy for weed seeds. I'm actually, where I stomp on the whole bed, I'm making it easy for weed seeds to come up all over the bed. Here, I'm just compressing the soil where the seeds are, not in here, and weeds are less likely to come up. Okay, somebody's coming here. I'll have to shut the video off and restart. Okay, I'm back. I had a neighbor stop by and borrow my Whiz-Bang chicken plucker. It's got 25 chickens to process today. And so here I am, back here finishing off my planting. And there we go. The bed is planted. Now, I can do this really quickly compared to how long it just took in this video. But you've got the idea. It's fast. It's simple. And now I will show you a couple of beds where I've done this with buckwheat earlier in the year. All right, so let me show you first of all a mini bed that I planted to buckwheat just a few days ago. And there we go. 13 spots. Coming up very nicely. I should tell you that I did not water these beds when I planted them or after I planted them. I don't think it's necessary, especially when you compress the soil over the seeds like I've done. Now let's go look at a bed that is a little bit older. Here you can see I've got some really good looking onions. They are just stupendous this year. Yeah, look at these onion beds. Very happy with the onion beds this year. And the garlic. And here we go. Here's 4 beds down through there that I planted with a 13 spot planting template and the hammer. I hammer planted them. Over here we can get a little bit closer and see. I think we could see that. You see I've got a bunch right there, and got a bunch right there. So they'll grow up. Get down here like this maybe. Yeah. There's another world in there. They'll grow up and they'll fill the bed. Fill the bed very nicely. Got another bed right there. For some reason that bed, planted at the same time as that bed, is a whole lot higher, a whole lot taller. Isn't that interesting? And we got another one here. Okay, so there you go. Hammer planting of cover crops and certain vegetable crops. It's a good technique, I think. First year trying it, but so far the results are really looking good. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.